Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Head Coach Ross of the Attacks Gym, Street Warrior, Njia, Uhuru, Kipura. As you know, Njia, Uhuru is a Swahili phrase. It means the way of freedom. Kipura is the name of the ancient fighting system of the Empire of Congo, which has been vastly and incorrectly interpreted and misstated as Capoeira and wrongly practiced in Brazil, most famously. In ways that our ancestors never did. My family system is Njia, Uhuru, Kipura, and as such, it is a direct lineage connection to Kipura. So my system my system here in the United States is not only older than the practice here, the practice in Brazil, meaning its lineage going back, not specifically Njia, Uhuru, Kipura, the term, which is something that I created, but I mean, the lineage, even here in the United States, is older than Capoeira in Brazil. But the lineage stretches unbroken to the Empire of Congo and prior to the formulation of the Empire of Congo. And therefore, my lineage, compared to Cardio Capoeira, is like the grandfather, the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather talking to the unborn grandchild. We're that much older and we're that much more authentic. And that's actually the focus of this particular discussion. I received, I can't tell you how many hundreds of emails regarding this matter, and over the years, and I'm talking like years, like 6-7 years, and I've written about this in my blog any number of times. My blog is on Blogger. It's called Capoeira That Works, and it has a tremendous wealth of scientific data, knowledge, proofs, links, etc. to show that every letter I utter on this topic is without any form of error. And wheresoever your opinion or the opinion of your mestres or your combination of you two diverges from what I proved out, that's where your opinions are wrong. Wheresoever your opinions converge with what I'm saying, that's where your opinions are right. It's just really that simple. It's not an issue of my opinions, like my ego. What I'm doing here is I'm actually presenting the aggregate works of the experts in these fields who are vastly more informed and in all ways superior to you in every facet of knowledge. And I'm not saying this to denigrate you or to be arrogant. Again, I'm just telling you the facts. Now let's get right to the point here. How can you, independent of reading all this stuff, how can you tell if what I'm saying to you is true and if what the Brazilians, especially Capoeira Moderno and all that other good stuff they use, if that's the correct way to do things, right, or not? The very simple way is this. Look at the history of the practitioners of the arts as recorded by those who are the blood enemies of the art and its practitioners. We are talking about the European slavers, in this case most especially the Portuguese and Brazilian slavers, all right, and their encounters and interactions with Africans. Did these slavers say, oh, we are just so impressed with the music that these guys have, so we just could not enslave them? Hell no. Did they say the flips and acrobatics and agility that these Africans have is just so magnificent that we just, when we sent our army to enslave them, our army was like, oh, I can't believe how culturally fantastic and acrobatic they are, so we just had to leave them alone? Hell no. All right. Did anyone say any of the ridiculous comments that you hear nowadays when Brasileiros are talking about cardio capoeira? Oh, it's more than a fight. It is a culture. It is a language. It is this. It is not. Hell no. You didn't hear none of that. Do you know why? Because none of that keeps you alive. The first and most central requirement of any fighting system is self-defense skills, superior self-defense skills, period. Otherwise, the practitioner dies, the art dies. End of story. So when you look at the historical records regarding Kipura, look at the skills they possess. Look at what they did, and then compare it to what you're learning now. There is no comparison. You're looking at Kipura heroes who routinely defeated 5, 10, 15, 20 armed assailants at the same time, and comparing them with the cardio capoeira, Brazilian Taebo dancers and exercise people of today. There is no comparison. It would be like comparing Kipura Navy SEALs with Taebo boot camp practitioners. Is that disassociated? And again, that is the historical record. That's not just my opinion. My opinion just happens to reflect the historical record, okay? Look at Ngola Njia. Look at her. She led her warriors and the kingdom of Ndongo Matamba, which was later miscalled Angola, in wars and completely trounced the Dutch and the Portuguese. Completely trounced them in wars. Killed cats who were trying to enslave her and her people. Had captured her own sister. Was keeping her niece and her child hostage. She whoopalized up upon her husband, who was the leader of the Mbangala at that time, as he tried to transgress against her. Look at everybody you think of. Mestre Pastina, the peaceful philosopher, the genius, the one who was given credit for creating Capoeira Angola in Brazil. Both that term Capoeira and Angola are misnomers, both of them. Capoeira is Kipura, all right, mispronounced. Angola is the horrible misapplication and misunderstanding of the Kimbundu term Ngola. Ngola it refers to the office of the ruler of the kingdom of Ndongo. All right, that's how far off these guys are. That's how little they actually know about anything. Okay? Well, Pastina, he tells you, okay, that his Mestre Benedito taught him as a child, because Pastina was being bullied by a larger, older kid who was his neighbor. The first thing that Pastina did is whoopalize upon this guy as he continued to aggress upon him. Now ask yourself, have you learned even one self-defense technique that you can apply against anyone regardless of their style or their approach? Have you learned that? The answer is no. 99.9% of you know that you haven't. Some of you are going to say stuff like, yes, I have. I've practiced, and you don't know. You shut up. You're lying. And you know you're lying. You're not just wrong, you're lying. Okay? And you know you are. You know you are. Let's just put all our ego to the side and be adults about this. Fact is, the only reason why this practice exists to this day is because the Brazilian military government of 1964 radically changed its practice. What happened was, the actual practice, that which gave rise to the legends, has never been legal in Brazil. If what you are doing is the real art, where are your legends at? Where are your warriors at? How come there's no more bisuros? How come there's no more Cobrinha Verde? How come there's no more Maria Doze Homens? Who's Maria Doze Homens? Maria Doze Homens is a sister who was famous for defeating 12 armed men at the same time while she was unarmed in hand-to-hand combat, and then escaping before they can inflict the triple most heinous punishments upon her. First, she's a woman, so they're not having that. You're a woman. Then you're black, which is extra bad. And then you not only beat up on men, you beat up on men and got away with it. So they were going to kill her like a whole lot. If they can kill her 3 times, they would. She's one of many. Njia Brata, another magnificent warrior whose skills with the blades were unparalleled at that point in time. You know, Ngola Teresa, who is miscalled Reina Teresa de Benguela. All right, where are your warriors at? Where's Dandaha? Where are the current versions of these? Where is the current Nganga and Zumbi, who you drastically miscall Zumbi dos Palmares? Yes, it's terrible. You know, you need to do some real serious research. Where are your warrior heroes if what you are doing is what the ancestors did? If you are practicing the the authentic art in the authentic way, you should get even superior results in the modern day and time with modern day superior physical performance sciences, sports performance sciences, nutrition, etc., and so on and so forth. Where are your warriors? You have zero. Not only do you have zero, you actually discourage the very notion of such. Oh, it's more than a fight. We don't fight. Brazil has been in the grip of hell for the longest. And now you have that moron Bolsonaro in charge, who's even worse than the fake toupee wearing 45 that we have as president here in the United States. If there was any time that the real authentic art was really drastically needed in the modern times since the collapse of the military government, now is that time. You have no warriors though, which proves that you are not practicing the art. What happened when you were practicing the real art? Well, when that happened, we had quilombos, not one, quilombos plural, hundreds of them, with thousands, tens of thousands of warriors in each. And they were able to successfully defy not one, not two, but 3 empires for hundreds of years, for so long and with such success that they and they alone achieved freedom during the era of slavery. In fact, they ended slavery because the real warriors refused to be slaves. They just killed up everybody and made subsequent efforts to even conceive of trying to re-enslave, re-enshackle them. It's economically impossible. What have you done? You done made some street hustlers where you hop around and do some flips that don't help nobody at all. And I'm not even being disrespectful, but I am being purposefully blunt and brazen and confrontational even. Because other than that, if I don't do that, you will return to your subjugated mindset, wherein you continue to perpetuate spreading the malicious virus that is really the colonial era's invasion of its continued assault upon and co-opting cultural misappropriation of African Kipura. And this Kipura is everywhere we have gone. It's not just in Brazil. It's in Suriname, which is right next to Brazil, which has a very similar history. Why is that? Because the same warriors were there, whooping up on the same people. They just spoke Dutch this time. All right? Same thing with Paraguay. The similarities in the practices is because they're the same art. The difference is because the same warriors were facing slightly different interpretations and flavors of racism, so they changed what they did in order to be more effective against that specific, in this case Spanish, version of horrific oppression, which was slavery. Same thing with Martinique, Laja, Danye, all that is Kipura. Same thing here in the United States, knocking and kicking, Kipura. When knocking and kicking warriors had been captured and thrown into jail, that was Jailhouse Rock, that's Kipura. When Jailhouse Rock further splintered and had more specializations, 52 blocks, Comstock, that's Kipura. Then when it came to my family, Njia, Uhuru, Kipura, all we did was take the extant information, combine that with all the skills that we possess, develop it even further to deal with the modern threats we're facing now. That's Njia, Uhuru, Kipura. We are the only well-known branch of Kipura which continues the actual legacy of Kipura. And where are the warriors? You're looking at one. We got hundreds. My whole family. The students I've taught. The students my cousins and brothers have taught. The students my uncle has taught. Where are yours? Here's what I want you to do. You doubt me for 1 second, okay. Have your cardio capoeira teacher tell you how to deal with multiple opponents. Let me see that. Show it on video. Don't like, oh, well, we practice. I don't want to hear anything about your personal anecdotes. Show it. No, I didn't think so. Show me how your cardio capoeira mestre will tell you how to deal with grapplers. Knife attacks. I mean, the things that the Brazilian slavers legendarily said that we were good at. You remember Madame Sata, who the police police's enemies recorded, had defeated 27 of them in hand-to-hand combat when he was drunk after they ambushed him at his favorite drinking spot? Come on, man. Can you even defeat 2.7 kids who are asleep in a straitjacket with your... No, you can't. Because you don't even practice that way. You don't even conceive of the art that way. And it doesn't mean that I'm denigrating the benefits that you are getting. What it means is what you're doing is not the art. And you are receiving infinitely less benefits than you should. It's much worse than if you had boiled down, say, Zhongguo Wuzhu Gongfu, right, which is what we would call Chinese Kung Fu here in the United States, is if you boil that down to solely and only the most crowd-friendly, flashy, or basic forms. And that's it. You didn't call it by its right name, by its correct name. You didn't call it Gong Fu or Kung Fu. You made up some other kind of name like Slung Chu, you know, and you not only did you not consider its place of origin, Zhongguo, which is China, all right? You decided that really, if you live in the United States like me, you decided that really the art came from the United States, and it's not about a fight. It's about culture. What the hell culture do you have? Let's be honest about that. Let's take a look at the history of Brazil. What is your culture? Your culture is that primarily of the slaver who hates the art and the artist. Period. Period. If you deny this even a little bit, then ask yourself some real simple questions. How many native Brazilians would in and of their own free will decide that, you know what, Portuguese needs to be the dominant language of this country that we've been here for thousands of years before they arrived? None? Okay. How many Africans would be like, you know what I need to do is I need to take this here lovely Middle Passage ship ride from my country, from my continent, from my people, all up over here into the slavery situations, lose everything, plus learn me some Portuguese and other self-destructive stuff. No? Yeah, that's what I thought. You have zero room for argument. Zero. And again, this is an assault. It is an assault upon the lies that you've been taught, not an assault upon you personally. Okay? I'm trying to wake you up. I'm trying to get you to look at what you already know and accept it on what it says. This is what it says. It says, even the guys you quote, Mestre Pastina, Mestre Bimba. Bimba was a warrior. He said so in his own quotes. The stuff you did, he specifically said he didn't do, he didn't approve of. All right, he called it rubbish, and is not the quote-unquote capoeira that he had ever seen in his entire life. He's never seen anything like that, and he didn't approve of it. Even Pastina, the philosopher, reminded everyone that capoeira was first a fight. First a fight. Number one, a fight. Go look up his quotes. You'll find it. When you look at people talking about how amazed they are with so-called capoeira, again, this is Kipura. I'm going to stop using that word capoeira because that allows you to psychologically buy into the colonial mindset which came along with the coining of that word capoeira by Rafael Bluto in 1712 with Rafael's dictionary. So I'm going to stop doing that because me repeating that word is helping to reinforce the colonial mindset, which is separating all of us. Yeah, they're still benefiting from this. The more you promote that garbage, the more you're suppressing yourself and all of us, and helping the colonials to do all the heinous, horrible things that they've done. The colonists, who you claim to disagree with. By the way, you cannot be a person who practices the art and supports Bolsonaro. That's like being a fan of God, right, but supporting Satan. Yeah, it's like that. Okay. Hello, ma'am. How are you doing? Hey. So, take that with you while we're discussing this particular topic. Okay. Anyway, if you want the real deal, the unapologetic truth, the linguistic skills, the combative skills, the history, the real information that truly unifies us all as human beings, while keeping the art exactly what it is. It's African. It is not Brazilian. It is not Afro-Brazilian. It is African. Period. The people from Africa who landed in Brazil did not stop being African. Some of you are like, oh, well, they're Afro-Brazilians, they're dual. No, it's not. Did the Europeans who came from Europe and landed in what we now miscall the Americans, did they stop being Europeans? Oh, you want to put the hyphen in on it, okay? Maybe they're European Americans. Really? Okay. Let's run with that. When they're European Americans, they are uniting their European heritage with whatever they're doing here. But when you say Afro-Brazilian, you are actually seeking to obliterate, to blot out the African philosophy, the intellectual prowess and achievements, the history, the language, the culture, the spirituality, everything African. You're just forced to give it verbal lip service while you're really seeking to superimpose everything Brazilian, by which you really mean upper middle class white Brazilians who are hostile to everything black. Everything. That's what you really mean. You're seeking to co-opt Kipura, which you miscall Capoeira. You even called it some kind of a cultural heritage thing. You had it declared as yours, you know, in somebody else's court. We ain't listening to none of that. It's garbage. It ain't yours. It's African. Period. If you're not of African blood, it is not yours. Period. It's ours. Now, that does not mean that you can't practice it. Of course you can practice it. In the same sense that you don't have to be, say, Okinawan to practice karate. You can practice karate to your heart's content. Lyoto Machida is just practicing his heart out. I have too. All right, I have an old 350-degree black belts in different forms of karate. I do. I love it. And yeah, every single technique of karate is in Kipura already, especially in my Njia Uhuru Kipura. All right. But did the art stop being Japanese? Did it stop being Okinawan just because I practice it, or because other people across the world practice it? Hell no. These two are not exchangeable realities. Kipura is African. Period. Doesn't matter who practices it. End of story. Anybody tells you different, that person is lying. They're not just wrong, they're lying. They're telling you something that they know is not true. And they're trying to get you to believe it. If you are a good-hearted person who wants to fully enjoy the incredible benefits of this art, which include the entirety of Smai Tawi, which is miscalled yoga, then start where the truth is. The art is African. Learn the history of the continent of Africa. Learn about the Empire of Congo. Learn about the warriors. We include the Lamtuna and Gudala. Who are the Lamtuna and the Gudala? You miscall them Moors. They are not Moors. Look it up on Google. As a matter of fact, you can, again, another resource, Wikipedia, look up the Lamtuna, L like Larry, A, M like Michael, T like Tom, U-N-A, and the Gudala. They are the same people who the Arabs call the Almohades and Almoravids, who the Spaniards call Moros, who are called Saracens, who, by various East Scandinavian languages people, right? Who the English call blackamoors and Moors. All right, these people are responsible for conquering large tracts of land in Europe and Asia, and literally civilizing Europe not once but twice in the process. This is from 600 AD to 1495 AD, and this is how Spain had received the technological advances to be the first to launch the Spanish Armada and start trying to colonize the rest of the world, because Africans created this technology and bequeathed this information to the Spaniards. And this includes the first street lights, the hanging gardens, and everything else that was cool during that period of time. All of it Africans created. While we're on the subject, yes, these very same Africans also are the source and font of Silat, Pinchak Silat. Yeah. Kali also is from the African fighting systems and is also fully embraced in Kipura. How is that? Kali is a cultural reinterpretation of the lion god / goddess Sekhmet. Sekhmet is the daughter of Mantu Ra. Daughter of Ra. Mantu Ra is the war aspect of Ra. Okay? The Mantu, which is the collective name for the African fighting arts, continue their legacies all throughout the continent of Africa, including Kipura. of what later became known as Congo. Okay? And that is how they are connected. Kipura traces his roots back to Sekhmet and Montu, Sekhmet's father, Ra's the father of Sekhmet. Kali is literally Sekhmet reinterpreted in Bharatavajra, Jambudvipa, which we miscall India, because Africans fleeing the invasions of enemies and also following the previously established, thousands of years previously established patterns of migrations to what we now miscall India, went to India, took all of their massive knowledge and information and achievements with them, and part of that knowledge was the knowledge of Sekhmet, which as thousands of years passed was transformed into Kali. This is not news. Google it if you don't believe me. Look at Kali, the goddess. Kali, the goddess, and Sekhmet, Sekhm, like Michael E.T. Kali and Sekhmet, they're the same people. Yeah. All of that is directly connected to what you aren't being taught and what you're being lied up to regarding cardio capoeira. Kipura is the genuine art, is what embraces us and continues the human legacy, the human arabesque. Everything beneficial springs from that insofar as our honest interpretation and interaction with each other. Okay? It is where the warriors and legends spring from. Again, if it was not, then your cardio capoeira would have produced all kinds of warriors and legends. And it hasn't. Literally since cardio capoeira supporters killed Mestre Pastina and Bimba, yeah, you heard me right. That was the last public awareness of any heroes who practiced anything remotely similar to what you practice, which they didn't, by the way. None of the stuff you're doing is what either one of them did. Okay? So, just boil it down and be as simple as you possibly can. If what you're practicing is the legitimate art, you should be sweet in self-defense. You should be able to defeat multiple people. Remember the Kipura warriors also defeated Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. By knockout. By knockout. Okay? If you're not doing that, if you're not learning self-defense skills, if you're not learning the spirituality attendant to it, if you're not learning the healing techniques attendant to it, if you're not learning the language, the history, the culture, if you're not learning the Congo drum, if you're not learning the movements and the direct correlation between the African spirituality, which has all manner of expressions and interpretations and branches, but all of which fit seamlessly into the art of Kipura because they are all part of it, then you aren't learning the real deal. I can teach it to you. I'm the only one who can. Well, if I'm not the only one who can, if there's somebody else out there who can, they're not saying nothing. You don't know them, I don't know them. You know, right? So if you want to know the real deal, you could do 3 things for me, all right? Hit that subscribe button on my YouTube. Hit that bell for the notifications of my new videos, all right? Also, go to my website, googlesites.com/Attack Street Warrior Capoeira. All right? If you think that what I'm saying is complete nonsense and stupidity, leave it in the comments. We'll have a good chat about it. We'll talk about it as adults and we'll debate the facts, not the passionate lies you were taught. The facts. Starting with, if what you're saying is true, show me the warriors who would defy the regimes like Bolsonaro. That's the first thing our ancestors did. First thing. They never conceded to slavery, and they won. Start with that. Show me your training, your personal training with your mestre that deals with self-defense situations. Let me see your punches. This is a major issue. I've said this on a video before, but I have to really bring this home. You will never, ever, ever find an African fighting system, anything involving black people where punches, these hands are not slung up your skull piece. And all other uncomfortable places in your body. If you don't find these hands, you haven't found the real art. Period. We created submission, grappling, and wrestling. If you don't find the torques, the locks, the twists, all of the comprehensive grappling and destructive techniques that still exist, that you will see if you go look up again what I told you before. Go to Google and look up Capoeira basic technique lists. The cardio Capoeira scholars who are far better informed and much more storied than all of your cardio Capoeira mestres combined today, they tell you, Brazilian Capoeira is the result of a huge synergy of African martial arts. I don't like using that phrase because we know that martial arts is not the correct term. Mantu is. Martial refers to the Roman god of war, Mars, and Rome was the enemy of Africa. But anyway, I'm just quoting what they said. And paraphrasing, I should say, what they said. A huge synergy of African martial arts, including Kulunga fighting, Tambe, La'am, Nubia wrestling, and many more. The most cursory analysis of these fighting systems and these skills include, this is not written in Wikipedia, but you'll find this if you're actually looking for the truth. They include the Harakati Ujuzi, which in Swahili means movement skills, of Insanga. Insanga is a Kimbundu term and refers to the agile, skillful, almost prescient defensive and offensive skills combined, in transitional skills. Defense, offense, and transitional skills combined, as part of the hallmark movement skills, not just dance defenses, but movement skills of Kipura. This same skill is miscalled by Europeans by the Romanized term. They try to Romanize Nsanga, They screwed up the term Nsanga just like they screwed up the term Ngola and turned that into Angola. And instead of realizing we're talking about Ngola refers to the office of the ruler of the kingdom of Ndongo, they thought that Ngola was the name of the country that the kingdom of Ndongo is. That would be like coming to the United States, seeing the president, going back to where you're coming from, saying the country of the United States is called Presidento, and the citizens of the United States are the Presidentoans. It's that stupid. And you're running around perpetuating this stupidity. And it's your fault. Once you learn, it's on you to not be stupid anymore and not participate in this kind of ruthless, racist, sexist, classist, degenerative co-opting and cultural misappropriation. You're better than that. Don't continue what the wrong-headed, misguided, and horrible practices of the ancestors, the slaving ancestors. Don't continue that. Anyway, you look at these combination of skills, you will see very clearly that Nsanga refers to what the Europeans refer to as sanguar, and it deals with 1,000 twists, turns, jumps, rolls, leaps with such agility that we were able to dodge punches, kicks, sweeps, all forms of hand-to-hand attacks, spears, arrows, swords, whips, all forms of handheld weapon assaults, and even periodically, depending upon which sources you cite, such as some of the descriptions in the Battle of Kitombo and other areas, we're even able to periodically avoid the initial volley of musket fire, and even in earlier times, the earlier 20th century, in modern pistol fire too. When have you ever even seen anybody pull a gun in your cardio a practice weapon, even in your cardio capoeira class? Never. That's what I thought. When have you ever been in your little cardio capoeira roda, getting your Brazilian Taebo on, and somebody came at you with a practice knife and you had to do your little Njia to get out the way? Never. That's what I thought. By the way, like I told you before, Njia is a person. It is not a technique. Njia is Ngola Njia, the greatest super genius monarch and warrior in the modern era. She is also the greatest and most famous warrior of modern Kipura. She better than everybody. And that's what it is. Now, her Nsanga bears her name and her imprint, which is not what you're doing. what you're doing is garbage, which he did is much better. In precisely the same way that the Ali Shuffle bears his name and his imprint. Is the Ali Shuffle the basis for the footwork in boxing? No. The Arakati Ujuzi Yajinga, movement skills of Jinga, is also not the basis of the movement skills of Kipura. In precisely the same fashion that the Ali Shuffle is not the basis of footwork in boxing. Let me body weights with me. Have a nice day. Okay. Now that I frazzled a whole bunch of brains and cooked the crap out of a whole lot of holy cows, all right, it's time for me to sign off. Tell me what you think about it. Leave comments on this videos. Share it with your friends. Cuss me out if you're mad. Applaud me if you agree. All right. Go to my website. Support us. Go to my Facebook group. All right. Njia Uhuru Kipura. All right. Jump in. Check it out. Tell me what your thoughts are. It's Head Coach Ross, the Tax Gym Street Warrior, Njia Uhuru Kipura. Take care of yourselves. Asante sana. Amani. Ashe.